Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Medaka Kuroiwa is Impervious to My Charms, Season 1, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, a little bit after the events of last episode, we are still, at least at the beginning of the episode, still in festival prep mode. And that whole situation with Tsubomi, because obviously her and Mona have been talking more and more, understandably, you're both on the committee for like the festival and stuff, so it makes sense. So you're probably talking a lot of festival stuff, but it did kind of make me start wondering, does Mona have a lot of friends or not? There's the redhead who we know is going to be a part of this story, who we even see she has a picture of them together in her house. So I guess like maybe that's a childhood friend. And like, I think I brought this up in a previous episode, maybe they go to different schools and eventually that friend transfers to this school. Because she is originally from Osaka, so she transferred here to Tokyo, much like Medaka did. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I'm curious how many actual legitimate, straight up friendships does Mona have? And I'm wondering, is that where all 5 of our like female protagonists come into play? Like, it isn't a harem situation, but it's just those end up being like the legit friends that Mona ends up having, because, and maybe even, you know, eventually Medaka, but I mean, it's also like he's avoiding friendships with girls in general, not just intimate relationships, but even friendship, platonic relationships he's avoiding. But either way, because we see the pleasantries that Mona has with people, and I wonder if the nature of that situation of everyone finding you so charming and captivating, it's hard for people to know the real you. Like, it always stops so surface level, and I wonder if that's her interactions with people. We've only really seen her like talk to people in a way of just like, oh, I'm so cute and charming, and people being captivated by her cuteness and charm. And so I wonder if that's all it ever, like any like friendship or association is always very surface level. And I'm wondering if Tsubomi's like the first friend she's had outside of her like redheaded friend. So that's what I'm curious about. Because we don't really like, other than now Tsubomi, we don't see her like continuously interacting aside from small interactions with other people. And once again, it's usually the pleasantries and stuff like that. But other than that, we don't really see her interact with anyone other than Medaka. So I think that kind of plays into it. And I think it might be a thing of, just as she's going on this journey, discovering how she feels about Medaka, it might make Mona kind of take a step back and recognize certain things about her life that maybe she never quite noticed. Or, I mean, that's also why like it hits her so hard that Medaka doesn't give her any attention, because she's so used to everyone fawning over her, literally everyone, and he's the one person who doesn't, at least that we've met so far. So that, once again, it's a blow to her ego, and it's an attack to her queen bee status. And I'm theorizing a lot here, but I feel like a part of her arc is that self-discovery, you know? Either way, getting into the episode itself, sorry because I went on a massive tangent, but that was just something kind of flowing through my mind by the end of the episode. But Tsubomi is trying to do everything she can to play like, you know, wingman to Mona's attempts to get closer to Medaka. But for her, it's like, no, you've got it wrong. I don't care about him in that way. They end up putting on some outfit. Well, there's some outfits they got from like, I think her sister, who's a part of the theater club at their school. So it's also neat to kind of find out, oh, your older sister goes to this school. But it's like, they get costumes, and she's like, oh, you could put on this maid costume and try and get Kuroiwa's attention. But she's like, no, you're getting this wrong. And so in her mind, it's like, I'm going to make Kuroiwa fall for me ASAP. That way I can prove Tsubomi wrong. But I'm like, wouldn't you end up proving her right by doing that? But I guess for her, it's like, the moment I get him falling for me, then I'm not going to be trying so hard, and I'll erase Tsubomi's thinking like, oh, like, because I'll quickly move on and I won't be putting so much effort and attention towards Medaka, and then Tsubomi will finally realize what it is. But I'm like, your pursuit of Medaka is still going to lead to her probably doubling down even more so. So she's trying to think about like all the, like, I love that she's like, okay, I'll do this outfit and I'll go to this outfit. Like, what was the first outfit? I forgot what it was. The second outfit was a ghost outfit. Then she eventually went to the hot butler outfit. I love her changing her voice. She's like, okay, maybe not that one. And the final one ended up being the bunny girl outfit, but she's like, oh, it's a little too revealing. And lo and behold, Medaka just happens to walk into the room at that time. And so she's embarrassed. And for her, it's like, I did it again. I'm showing off way too much skin, way more than I intended to. Then she gets super embarrassed when Tsubomi was coming back into the room. Like, rather than thinking about it very rationally of, okay, I can hide and make Medaka stay out here, but then that's going to probably put... I mean, once again, she was so flustered because she knew, like, if Tsubomi caught them in this moment, it's like, oh my god, you changed into that bunny girl outfit just to get Kuroiwa's attention. I knew you really, really liked him. So just so she would avoid that, because she could have easily just, like, had Medaka hide, but then it still could be the thing if you're standing here in the bunny girl outfit, you changed into it for Medaka. Or if she hid, then would Medaka necessarily cover for her because it's all happening so fast? So just, hey, let's both hide, and now we're both leaning against each other. He's breathing in her ear. She can't handle it. She's pressing her boobs against his chest unintentionally, and he can't handle it. He's just trying to, like, drown it all out. And so, but for her, it's kind of like, well, wait, I actually unintentionally played this super smart. He's obviously, like, my boobs were against him. There's no way he could, like, not feel anyway. And then she looks towards him, and he's just, like, fighting it so hard. And she's like, oh. And then she just looks at herself in the mirror. She's like, right, this is so raunchy. Like, of course there's nothing cute about it, which I was like, oh, like, that's the first time we've ever, like, not the first time, but, like, we do see, like, the mask slip every once in a while. Like I said, it's when with so much of the world, she has to be, like, present herself that certain way, and it just feels like, even though she still presents herself that way, we as the audience get to see behind the mask kind of just the insecurities and, if that kind of bubble, like, we get to, through her inner thoughts and stuff. But she's just kind of like, right, I'm not cute. And then Medaka kind of heard that. She was like, oh, just forget I said that. Because it just, once again, it's like, she almost like, ooh, I let that slip. That was supposed to be an inner thought. Like, once again, the mask is slipping more and more around Medaka, and she doesn't like that. But then he tells her, like, she looks cute. And she's like, what? And he's like, okay, it's a little too revealing, though, but whatever, and leaves. And for her, it's like, my heart's beating. She was so busy trying to get his heart racing. Now hers is, and it's just frustrating for her that it's just like, okay, but now she feels good. She's coming in the next day. Well, obviously, he said I'm cute, so I'm already, like, I'm going to basically make him bend the knee. And she turns and looks, and he's, like, even more sour than usual. She's like, what the hell just happened? She's like, yesterday, it felt like I took a step forward and I took 2 steps back, because Medaka has doubled his effort. And even she noticed it later on. It's like, he's not even looking my direction anymore. It's like, a little bit of what she said was right, of like, oh, he's so embarrassed. It's like, he was, because he's like, he felt like, oh my god, I'm giving into temptation. I've got to fight it even more. I let it slip. I should have never said that she was cute. Why would I say that? And it's so embarrassing. And so he's redoubling his efforts, like I said, just not even looking at her. So kind of hard to do. Well, I was about to say kind of hard to do. They're both working the festival, but he is in the kitchen, like, fixing, like, pancakes and stuff. So that probably gives him extra, like, hey, as like, she's gonna be working out front doing all that stuff, promotion and stuff, I'm gonna be in here in the kitchen as long as I can avoid this way. I'm also avoiding as many people as possible, because we also, it's not just like girls. Like, Medaka, we've only seen him interact with, like, 2 dudes, and that's the 2 dudes who know Medaka's circumstances of why he, it's like the way he is towards Mona. But, like, we haven't really, and maybe that's the parallel too of, like, we haven't really seen them have, like, real true blue friendships. I mean, Medaka is so focused on his training and, I guess, like, avoiding Mona and dealing with all that, he hasn't really had time to really, I mean, we just haven't seen him interact with anyone. And once again, like, Mona's attention is all towards Medaka, and his attention is all about avoiding her and temptation. So it's really interesting. We also have the character we met in episode 1 who had, like, a moment of walking past Medaka in the hallway, and she kind of blushed, and her friend was almost like, what was that about? And so she knows there's some connection, because she's like, oh, like, Asahi, like, he's back there. Do you want to go see him? And she's kind of like, I'll do it later. But then she ends up leaving to go to her club at the end of the episode, not even seeing him. So I'm like, okay. So my first thought was like, well, I was like, could they be siblings? But I'm like, nah, I feel like that wouldn't be the interaction. Like, he would have said something to her. So my immediate thought is they might be childhood friends and they haven't seen each other in a long time, and so Medaka doesn't even register that it's her. It might be one of those things of when she was super young, like she looked maybe more, she was very tomboyish and might still be, and so maybe she looked very much like a little boy when she was younger, and so now that she's, you know, grown up and filled out more, maybe he doesn't recognize her. You know, that's happened plenty enough time in plenty of anime and manga where it's like, wait, you were a girl the entire time? That ends up being a trope that does get used. So I could see that being the case. And even if she looked very girly when they were younger, it could also just be a thing of it's been so long, like he hasn't seen her, because he's not originally from this area. So either she moved from where they're originally from. I don't remember if we ever know. We know, like I said, we know Mona is originally from, she was born in Osaka, but I don't know if we know where Medaka is from. Who knows? This might not even be the first time he's transferred to a different school. Like maybe that's the thing of like, once again, they were in different schools, at the same school when they were younger, and then he transferred to a different, whatever the case may be. I think that's what it is. I think it's going to be a childhood friend thing. Once again, whether that's going to be like a love triangle thing between him, Mona, and her, we'll have to wait to see, but I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of like I haven't seen you in so long and I'm just kind of embarrassed. Like the fact that she hasn't gone out of her way, like especially because he's been at the school for like over a month at this point in time in the story. So it's like the fact that she hasn't really potentially said anything to him. Maybe she's too embarrassed. I mean, especially that time she ran into him. I wonder, was that her first time seeing him at school? And the reason why she kind of looked irritated, it's because you walked past me without even saying anything. But to be fair, at the time, his mind was so focused on getting away from Mona and not giving into the temptation that maybe he didn't even recognize. Because he probably might not even, that might have been the only time they've run into each other. Or maybe they have run into each other before. And once again, I'm doing a lot of speculating that could be completely off mark. But that's where my immediate thought is with the whole Asahi. Is it Asahi or Asahi? Whatever the case may be. Maybe we'll kind of dive into that more next episode. We also had, and obviously it ends up playing out at the very end, and you knew it was going to be a major point when Tsubomi brings up like the legend at the school of, oh yeah, like when there's a festival, if you walk across like this bridge section in the school and you're holding hands, you and that person will be bound together forever type of thing. So, and she was wishing that, you know, Kuroiwa and Mona would like have that opportunity. But either way, like getting back to, I went on my massive diatribe, I'm so sorry, but Medaka is trying to work in the kitchen and Mona comes up to him because she's told to take a break and she's like, oh, I will. Oh, do you want to go hang out together? He's like, no, but I'm working on the kitchen. She's like, oh, let's go get something to eat. He eats some food off the plate. He's like, see, I ate, I'm good. And so he's forced to, well, actually Tsubomi came in for the assist, being like, I'm ordering you, Medaka and Mona, go out there and promote the you know, our thing, and so kind of have no choice. And I thought it was so interesting when they're like, you know, Mona's like, all right, this is gonna be my time to strike. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Medaka to places that he wants to go, and one of the places caught his attention was the haunted mansion, the haunted display at you know, whatever. And I was like, at first I was like, why is he interested in it? But the moment he goes in there, he talks about it looking like home. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. You growing up as a shrine, this might be a place that you kind of have to train in. Like, I was wondering if it was because of the creepy, like either he just really is into this stuff naturally, but he even says it reminds him of home. And I was wondering, like, maybe it has something to do with his training. And once again, it's a shrine. People, you know, like monks and priests and priestesses, like all deal with like creepy, like, you know, places like that. So maybe it has something to do with his training. Why it specifically reminds him of home, because I guess maybe there's plenty of areas in near where he lives that are kind of similar. I'm curious. It cool, just be like, oh, he's into creepy stuff, but he says like, oh my god, it looks so real, they got all these details right, whereas Mona is losing her mind because she's scared. I always like that archetype of characters who are super scared of, like, I mean, once again, like, it's a very specific, like, anime archetype. You know, you also see it in JRPGs too, where you have that one character who, or not one, but a few characters who are just scared of ghosts and just kind of get creeped out, even though they seem so in charge and so brave, but then like she's freaking out. I love at one point Medaka was like, "Oh, I heard someone scream." She's like, "Oh, it must have been one of the other guests here screaming." But for her, it's like, I hate being here, but he's really enjoying it. Then she gets stuck on one of the grave posts, and she's begging him not to leave her. And he's like, "Wait, your skirt's lifted up. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything." And she freaks out and she runs away. The post is still stuck inside of her, on her skirt. And I love one of the people from the display comes out when Kuroiwa like finally gives it back to him. He's like, "Yeah, sorry about that." The guy's like, "Curse you. I'm so jealous." You know, still in character. But it's like, all right, fine. We're not doing what Kuroiwa wants anymore. So Medaka takes him to different places. I love the little festival they went to. She's like, "Oh, I can't see anything. Can I hop on your shoulders?" The moment she was saying that, I was like, that's not Kuroiwa. He went that direction. And some random dude being like, "Yeah, if that's what you like." So I was like, that didn't work out. They went to get crepes. Hers got snatched up by a bird, and I loved. And it's kind of, oh, you could have been nice. It would have been nice if you Medaka to offer yours, but he didn't. He just kept eating his. I was like, that's actually really good. I was like, that's kind of a dick move when you literally saw her get snatched up by a bird. But yeah, Medaka's attempts to like go every route she wants to does not pan out. So it all kind of blows up in her face. It's like, it's just did one miserable failure after another. And it's like she tried to have the home field advantage by doing this stuff she wants to try and be super cute. I can't remember what the first one was. I don't think it was the crepes. I think there was something before the crepes, or was it just the crepes and then the music show? I don't remember. But after all those failures, that's where the episode ends, with us seeing them at the bridge. So we'll see where things kind of go from there. I also love that the entire time back where the food is getting cooked, everyone's kind of screwing it up. Tsubomi is so focused on, you know, matchmaking and hoping everything works out between Medaka and Mona. She's burning the food. One of the dudes, he's not doing a good enough job because they're supposed to do the decorations after the fact, but they're trying to do it at the same time. So it's like, someone bring Medaka back here so we could actually get this food properly done right. So very, very interesting developments. I'm very excited to see where the next episode ultimately ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.